And welcome, everybody, to Hawk Talk. Jack Benedict here with Coach Paul Tortorella. Hawk Talk coming to you live from the Indiana Elks Lodge here, South 13th Street in Indiana. Good to have you along. We're here each and every Monday from 6 to 7 o'clock talking IUP football. I want to remind you we'll pick up on the Penguins right after the action here at the Elks location. And, of course, we go back to the game on Saturday at Edinboro. It was homecoming up there. It was a beautiful day as far as Edinboro couldn't be any better. But as far as the outcome, we didn't like that, did we? 27-23 the final. Edinboro comes away with the win there. Coach, it takes a while to recover for everybody, but here's something you have to do and press on. And perhaps what did you tell the team afterwards in the game?
You got to – nobody likes to lose, obviously, and we're probably as hurt as more than anybody, players, coaches, and the whole organization. But you got to learn from losing in regards to why did the outcome occur. And at the end of the day, we turned the ball over twice, and that led to 14 points for them. Now, we didn't do a very good job on sudden change defense, so just because you turn it over, it doesn't mean there should be automatic points. They didn't have any turnovers, and we had 95 yards in penalties, but 4 of them were crucial that led to 14 points for them and stopped. We had 360 yards, and we had the ball for 37 minutes, but we only scored 23 points. Well, 2 of the drives, we only had the ball 8 times because we lost a possession on the muff punt and we threw an interception. And now with the way the clock rules are, the game's shorter. Like against Lockhaven, same thing happened Saturday. They got the ball scored on their first drive, took half the quarter, and we finished the quarter. There was only 2 total series in the whole first quarter because the clock's continually running unless it's an incomplete pass, basically. So you look at the number of plays and possessions, you don't have anywhere near as many as you normally have. So 37 minutes, you think, wow, that's 37 minutes, that's a lot of time. 360 yards, yeah, that's a lot, but you got to score points. Mm-hmm. And the penalties prevented us from scoring points. Penalties led to 2 of their touchdowns. They got 2 touchdown drives that were aided by 2 pass interference calls. 2 of our drives were stopped, 1 on an offensive pass interference. I don't know how a guy runs a slant route and runs into a defender and it gets called for offensive pass interference. Well, everybody thinks, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, it is. It's now 1st and 25. You're not making that up. So there's a drive that's totally wasted. And then we got a holding call, and we got backed up. So we were 1st and 20. So that's another drive that we wasted. But other than that, we only punted twice. We lost a possession because of the muff punt. And defensively, we were bad in sudden change, and they were 4 for 4 on 4th down. And that's the other 14 points. So when you put all those things together, if you had a stamp with the reasons where it was turnovers, penalties, and not being able to get off the field on 4th down.
They made some plays when they had to. The 4th down situation, you go 4 for 4.
Well, the one, he's a yard short and the game's over.
Well, I'm just going to run through that. Here's what we're going to do. Run through that last minute 34 for the fans now that either weren't there, didn't listen, or couldn't listen, or couldn't view it, whatever the case may be. And we have the video on it. But so Edinboro gets the ball with 1:34 left. Edinboro is trailing 23-20. Get the ball at the 33, 1:34. It's 4th and 6. It comes up to a minute 9 at the Edinboro 47. It's a 4th and 7 at the IUP 34. 35 seconds, and then the pass takes it up to the yard markers where we're talking. Talk about the spot there where we were looking at from the 27-yard line to the 29-yard line. They give Edinboro a 1st down. In viewing it afterwards, and we have it on here, I don't know as far as the angle is concerned, but it appeared it's not sour grapes, but in a lot of areas that he came up short. Mm-hmm. Describe what you've seen, and you've looked at it over and over and over again.
I mean, he actually was down on the 29, but he did reach over, and he's a taller, longer-bodied guy. And he did reach over and put the ball down. but he was technically really down on the 29. But if you give him the reach over after he was down, it's the 27.5, and the marker's on the 27. So even if you give him that, as I'm down, you'll see him. He's down right there. His hip's down, he's down. As soon as his hip hits the ground, he's down on the 29. He does reach. I give the kid credit. He sells it, reaches the ball over, and he's long, he's tall. But, I mean, he's not 7'10". His arm's not that long. And he did get it to the 27.5.
He knew where he was on the field.
Yeah, he tried to get it to. I give him credit. He got it to the 27.5. The line's on the 27. Like, it's as simple as it is. Like, and you can't, like, on film, you can't really take. You don't have enough views to see it. But, like, he was down well short. Like, it's not even close. But you can't really. We have instant replay challenges, and they have one angle. And the one official told me it'll never get overturned. You can challenge it all you want because they won't have a good enough angle to overturn it.
What I don't understand is why the conference doesn't have it mandated that everybody have it.
Well, yeah, but you got to. If you have it, you got to have more than one angle. Like our targeting call, like I definitely thought it was targeting. It was one of them like, whoa, like everybody in the whole stadium. I mean, he lit the guy up. So it was definitely to the naked eye targeting, no doubt. They went in and reviewed it. He came out and he said, I didn't have a very good view of it because I only had one angle on the video. So I have to go with my call. So I'm fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could have been. It was probably 50-50. Is it helmet to helmet? It's more short. I mean, he blew the guy up now. It was like the Lockhaven guys doing it to us. And they didn't get targeted, but they got penalties. I would have taken the penalty, but I didn't want to lose probably one of our best defensive players in the middle of the second quarter. So if you're going to have instant replay, everybody have it. But by the same time, have the technology to do it so it means something. Like it's like they can't see anything. Yeah, is what the official told me. He says, I got one view, I got one angle, and I can't tell. He said, so we got to go with the original call.
So what about explain a challenge? You
lose a timeout.
We're under 2 minutes. Can you challenge?
Well, that was the second thing. The one official told me I couldn't because that's the NFL rule. Because in the NFL, they'll challenge it on their own after 2 minutes. Like that play, if it was in the NFL, that thing would have been challenged automatically. It would have went to and they would have had 18 angles, and they would have said, no way, it's not a first down. We obviously don't have that, so we shouldn't even have. We shouldn't even have it, to be honest with you. If you don't have the.
So one official said.
One official said you can't. It's in the last 2 minutes. He thought he was. I think he thinks he's refereeing in the NFL. And the other guy said you can, but it's not going to get overturned. They won't have whatever evidence. He goes because you won't have the angle for the yard line.
And if I understand it correctly, and there's so many rules, you as a coach can't ask for it, but the official in the booth has to come through it?
No. You can ask for it, and if it gets denied, you get charged the timeout.
Okay.
And I wasn't worried about that because the game was over if we'd been able to challenge it and it would have went through and everything. But the point being is they basically said, yeah, you can, but it's not going to get overturned because we won't have a good enough view of it. You know it's a problem when you have two head coaches call you today and say, we seen that on film and we can't believe that you lost the game because of that. Now, there's a million calls in a game. That's football. I mean,
yeah, it's not an
some
easy
good
job.
Calls, no, it's not. It's a terrible job to have because nobody ever says, wow, his referees were great.
Well, you have a brother who's an official. He knows.
So there's never a game decided by a call except this one. In 40 years of coaching, this is the first game that was literally decided by a call because if they call it right, the game's over. It's over. There's no more plays in the game. There's no more. The game is over.
The sad thing about it is you forced them 3 times in a row.
Yeah, 3 and outs.
3 and out and punt. And so it looked like everything was in order.
We needed to win the game. So my message to the team is it's a tough pill to swallow. You guys, they're not stupid. He didn't make it, and the game would have been over and we would have won, blah, 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 blah. But I said, you got to look at it this way. You can't let it come down to that. We had the ball on their 30, 5-yard line, 1st and 10 with about 7 minutes to go, up 23-20. We didn't convert a 3rd and 2. We went for it on 4th and 5. We didn't make that. Then we had the ball again to try to put the game away, and we have an outside 1st and 10. We run outside zone again, 7 yards, and we get called for holding. I mean, I could see them calling it. I'm not saying it wasn't holding. So now you're 1st and 20. It's hard to overcome. So they end up burning all 3 timeouts, but they still get the ball on the 33-yard line with minute, whatever it was, 40 or minute 30. Still had a lot of time. So we had 2 opportunities on offense to win the first one. We score there, we go up 10, they're done. I don't know if you realize they only had 175 yards of total offense going into the last 2 minutes of the game.
I know it wasn't much.
So if we score there like we should, I mean, I'm going to give Edinboro credit. They played a great game. They played hard. But when we get to that point with 7 minutes, 6 minutes to go in the game, and we're up 23-20, and we got the ball and we got all the momentum and we're driving, we can't run a 3rd and 2 play and lose 3 yards. And then we got to go for it on 4th and 5. We're in the field goal. Really wouldn't have done as much. I mean, 3-6. I'm not really. I'd rather let's try to score the touchdown and get up by 2 scores. And it would have been a 50-yarder into the wind. He made a 49-yarder with the wind. So we went for it on 4th and 5 there, and we didn't hit. Their guy made a great play. Now I will say that on the 4th and 5 pass, their linebacker got the pass breakup on Laney. Outstanding play in the coverage they were in. Outstanding. So they stopped us. We didn't. We should have been in 4th and 5. 3rd and 2, if we at least get a yard, it's 4th and 1. We're running a play inside that shouldn't bounce, and we bounced it, and he just didn't trust it and stay inside. So if he at least gets a yard, we're 4th and 1. We got a pretty good chance, I think, to make it on 4th and 1. Because even though we weren't running the ball great, we were running the ball pretty decent there in the second half. And we got to go in and score a touchdown and go up by 2 scores. And if you're up by 2 scores with 5 minutes to go in the game and the team you're playing only has 175 yards of total offense, I'd say your chances of winning are pretty good. Well, there was that time, and then the time we had the ball, we could have never gave them the ball back. We make 2 first downs at the end, the game's over. They never get the ball back. But, we didn't, obviously. And the holding penalty killed us and made it 1st and 20. I mean, it's hard to make a first down when it's 1st and 20. It really is.
Whatever happened to bringing out the chains?
They don't do it anymore.
I mean,
we've actually gotten calls. We'll run a play, and when you're on the road, the chains are on your side, so we'll have a really good look. So we'll run a play on offense, and we'll gain 9.5 yards. It's not even a first down, and they move the chains. Like, that happens more than once a game, and it happens for us. Like, if it's even close, they're saying first down, move the chains. And they'll never measure. There will be no measurements in our conference.
What is the reasoning?
If it's close, they're giving them a first down. And like I said, we've gotten it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could.
It works both ways.
It happened twice against Lockhaven. We ran a play on 3rd and 4, and we were probably a foot short. They gave us the first down. But when it's 4th down, that's when you got a problem, and you're short, and it's not even close. It's a yard. That's different. I'm talking about half yard.
Yeah, it's close.
Foot or 2, but it really technically isn't a first down. And they move the chains. Go. They tell the guys that are on the chains, let's go, first down. It's crazy, but that's the way it is.
Boy, I'll tell you, Bob Robinson and those guys from Blairsville that were the chain gang years ago, that'd be definitely out of business.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you've seen a measurement?
Was brought to mind. I thought, you're right, and I asked some of the guys that are still covering high school ball and whatever. Oh, no.
They don't measure anymore.
Amazing. All right, we're going to be back with more Hawk Talk. Interesting show here that we have for you with Coach Tortorella. Don't forget, coming up this week, it's going to be Seton Hill. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff at Cincinnati Field in George P. Miller Stadium, so be sure to join us for all of that. Right now, the weather looks like it's going to warm up and be pretty good. All right, we're back with Hawk Talk. We're coming your way on Renda Digital TV and U92.5 FM.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual, upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities, we give back not at the Elks, as an elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Here at the Elks Lodge in Indiana for Hawk Talk with Coach Paul Tortorella. IUP with a 4-2 record now after the loss to Edinboro, getting ready for Seton Hill this coming Saturday. I just wanted to go back, Coach, on the targeting. Was on Chuck Ingram.
Right.
The rule as to is he have to sit out the first half or anything?
No. If you get it in the first half, you sit out obviously the second half of that game, and you're good to go for the next game. But if you get it in the second half, you got to sit out the first half of the next game.
Okay, that's what we figured it was. I've got some questions here that come from our fans. One fan said we shut them down for most of the second half, except for the last drive. What did they or we do differently?
Well, they ran 12 plays. They completed 3 passes. And 2 of them were on fourth down, and the one wasn't far enough to make a first down. So I don't know what other answer they want.
Yeah, there you go.
They scrambled. The quarterback scrambled twice and got out of bounds because they didn't have any timeouts. That's one of the plays that hurt. He scrambled twice and got out of bounds. If we tackle him inbounds, the clock keeps running, obviously. But they spiked the ball 2 or 3 times to stop the clock.
Yeah. Could you tell any difference in this Edinboro team compared to the last couple of years?
Well, yeah, they're way better. They're way better. They got a lot of seniors. The quarterback's a veteran. Their offensive line's pretty good. And defensively, they play hard. They make you earn it. They don't blow a lot of cover. Like, they made some really good plays on defense to keep us at 23 points. Like I said, that one play on fourth down was a great play by the linebacker. And then the one series we got stopped, they made a really good play. We threw the ball in the flat. Guy made a great open field tackle, and then we had to kick the long field goal, and he made it. But, yeah, they were 1-4, but they may have had the toughest schedule in the country.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
And after playing us, they may have the toughest schedule in the country for the first 6 games. But they're going to win more games than just this. Yeah. They're going to win some more games, definitely. But yeah, they're a good team, and if you look around any area of college football, like. I don't know for a fact, but I want to say 70% of the scores I see are all one-score games. I saw 2 games on TV Saturday night, Mississippi, LSU, Ohio State, Oregon, all came down to the last play of the game, both of them. And one went into overtime. Yeah. One-score games. And the game's shorter because of the clock. And they even shortened the game more because they didn't even run plays until there was 5 seconds left on the play clock, which was smart. Mm-hmm. You got a better chance when you shorten the game because they only had the ball for 23 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 30
And part of that was, and that 23 minutes, that's a long 23 minutes because they're not running, they're waiting until 5 seconds on the play clock to run a play. So the game favors teams that are maybe the underdog, so to speak, to stay in the game because you just don't get as many plays. Like I told the offense today, like you get 8 to 10 series, you can't turn it over, and you got to score on 70% of them, or you're not going to score more than 24 points or 23 points because you aren't getting any. It's like in baseball. if you get 100 at bats, you got a better chance to get 20 hits than you do if you only got 50 at bats. Well, it's the same thing in football. If you don't get any series plays, whatever, they actually got 2 extra series because of the muffed punt and the interception. We only had 8 series in the whole game on offense. 8.
I know that first quarter was 2 series. That's
Same thing with Lockhaven.
Yeah. The back to the muffed punt. Mm-hmm. Tell us what happened on that.
The wind, if you were standing on the field, it didn't seem like there was much wind, but up above, it was pretty windy. The kickers were telling me before the game.
Okay.
And their punters was a big reason. Like, we had to go the length of the field the whole game. We didn't get any takeaways, and our punter was outstanding. But for the one time he had to punt into the wind, he hit it up there, and it just like it hit a wall. I mean, it was not like – it hit a wall and dropped straight down. So Frazier was running up to fair catch it and was yelling our call to get our blockers away. And everybody heard it except one guy. And he kind of blocked the defender into Frazier, and that's how he didn't catch the punt.
Yeah, I knew there was a collision there.
Yeah, it was only going to be, I think they were on the 25. We were going to get the ball on our 49, so it was only going to be a 26-yard punt because the wind just totally knocked it down.
Mm-hmm. See, we couldn't tell that on our level, which was a second level, but as you described it down below. And it's always windy up there. So
yeah.
Reed Martin is a great kicker, no question about that. Another question we have, would you play the last drive any differently next time?
On defense?
On defense.
No, because we stopped them.
Okay, that answers that, that's for sure. Were you surprised by anything they did on offense or defense? Or
I was surprised they threw 1 million screens. 1 million screens. Now, they had the week off before they played us. So they must have put in a screen package. So
earlier in the year, they weren't utilizing that?
No, just normal, like normal. I don't know for a fact, but I bet you they threw 12 screens. Mm-hmm. And remember now, they didn't have that many plays because they didn't have the ball that much.
Yeah.
They threw about 12 screens in the game. So they probably had the week off, and they installed that, and they did a pretty good job of it because early they hurt us with the screens. Then in the second half, we were kind of all over it. They tried a couple on those 3-and-out series, 2 of them on third down, and we were all over it. Mm-hmm. But then again, you talk like another thing I say is, we've played probably, I don't want to say good enough to win every game, but we've had a chance to win every game, but we've been too inconsistent within a game. First half defense, we didn't play very good, and then all of a sudden we come out in the second half and we're throwing 3-and-outs like they're going out of style. It's like there's nothing in between. We're either real good or we're not slowing them down. Mm-hmm. Very inconsistent, and we've had games like that on offense. In the last 2 weeks, the perfect example is defensively, we didn't play very good in the first half against Slippery Rock. The problem, the first half at Edinboro, we weren't playing real good, and they got a short field from the interception went down to the 5-yard line, but they had 2 penalties, so they got the ball on the 50. So when you're not out there very long and very much, they score 2 touchdowns in their 4 series. There's 14 points, obviously. Then in the second half, we went their first 5 series on their offense. There were 4 actually 3-and-outs, 3 in a row. And the one series that they scored on, they got the ball on after the muff punt. It was another short field. Mm. So up until the last drive, at the end of the day, we gave up 175 yards of total offense on defense. And I'm not saying we played great by any stretch of the imagination. But the problem was we controlled the ball for 37 minutes, but we had to go the length of the field every time we had the ball, and therefore we didn't score enough points.
Mm. The first 4 games, you had 14 sacks.
Yep. And
haven't had any of the last 2 games.
Nope.
Any particular reason?
Not good enough. I mean, Slippery Rock throws the ball pretty quick. Okay?
Yeah, Long gets rid of it.
Yeah. And we were into more of a 3-man rush against them for coverage. Edinboro threw a lot of screens. You're not going to sack the quarterback on screens. But when they were 5-step drop passes in the pocket, our 4-man rush, we weren't getting hardly anything out of it. And really, Cox comes free on a blitz clean, and he doesn't sack the guy, and the guy gets to throw off for an incomplete pass. Well, if he sacks him, it's 4th and 15. They got a punt. He doesn't sack him. They throw the ball away. They go for it on 4th and 4. See, that's the other thing. Because the way it is, you don't get the ball that much. You cross the 40, you're going for it on 4th down. Like, we've gotten, in 6 games, I think we've played 22 plays of 4th down defense. We used to say 3rd down percentage. Well, now we combine them, 3rd and 4th down.
Yeah, I was trying to see. In fact, I had to.
We were pretty good on 3rd down. We weren't good. We were pretty good on 3rd down. That's how we got them to 4th down. They made all 4 to 4th down ones, and the one was the one where we stopped them, but they got it anyway.
Let's see. Another question here from one of our fans. What players do you look to for leadership at this time?
Well, I think we've got 7 or 8 guys that have been in the program for 5 and 6 years. Comedy, Adam Hauser, Laney, Darius Bruce, Logan Danielson. You know, it's like a thing we say, equity in the program, pedigree, et cetera. We use those terms for guys that have been in the program a long time. It means more to them. And we've got a bunch of them. Like, I think Saturday we're honoring 15 seniors, last year players, so to speak, and 12 of them have been here for 5 years at least, and some of them have been here for 6 years. Ridley's also a very good leader. He's on his 6th year because he had a COVID year and a redshirt year. So now this is actually, he's got his degree already. He's in grad school. This is his 6th year. So he'd be another guy that's with that group, that leadership council that we have. And they've been tremendous all year. Really have been tremendous.
The positives coming from your team, some of the things, you had a blocked field goal.
Blocked field goal, yep.
Terrell Williams, 49-yard field goal.
Yep.
At that place. In fact, the IUP record was set at Edinboro, but it's the second longest in history. Cox has another great game. He has 13 tackles in the game. Any other thoughts of some? I mean,
well, the negative was we can't miss extra points, and that it's like a sore tooth. When you miss an extra point early in the game, it affects you the whole game. Well, are we going to go for 2 the next time we score? Let's look at the chart. We're driving. Look at the chart. See if it says to go for 2. Well, it says go for 2 if it's late, but don't go for 2 if it's early, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? So because we missed the first extra point, we go for 2 the next 2 times we score touchdowns. The first one, Massey, he hasn't dropped many balls. He drops the first 2-point play. It would have been good. And then he makes a freak play with 2 guys on him on the second 2-point play. There's 2 guys all over him, and he just jumps up and catches the ball. So not to get away from the 2 guys that were played well above the line were Massey and our quarterback. Our quarterback played tremendous. He's a warrior. You watch some of the things. He's not perfect, okay, but he runs the ball a lot. I mean, he was very effective in the run game. He had great percentage throwing the ball. He gets hit a lot. You know, when you're running the ball as a quarterback, you're getting hit a lot more. He's getting hit when he's throwing passes. The 2-point play that we don't make, normal quarterback, they blitz off the edge and our guy totally misses the block. It's going to be a sack for any normal quarterback. He avoids it, buys time, runs around and throws it to Massey, and Maurice just dropped it. You know, there was a guy that flashed his hand in front probably as a distraction for him, but I can't blame him for that because I saw him make 4 catches that were well above the line.
I remember that where he obstructed the view.
And we actually had the play we wanted. We didn't want to throw it to Maurice, but because the blitzer came free, we couldn't throw it where we wanted it. I'm not going to tell you where because it's a certain play that we still probably want to run. But we couldn't throw it where we wanted to throw it because the guy was on him right away. A normal quarterback, that's a sack, play over, it's done. I'm very impressed with him. He's a warrior.
Do you think that Karst is underrated?
Yes. He made a bad throw on the interception. Our receiver could maybe do a little better job preventing them from intercepting it. But we had Massey on the post, and he kind of got fooled with the coverage, and that's kind of where he should have thrown it. But again, you're 3rd and 15. Those are not very good chances for the offense. When you get behind the chains, like against Edinboro, they get into a 3-man rush, they drop 8. So if you get in 3rd and 10 or more, it's hard to complete a pass against an 8-man drop, more than 10 yards. So as long as we stayed out of 3rd and long, we drove the ball up and down the field. The only time they stopped us when it was 3rd and like 10 or plus. And we almost made the one after the 15-yard. The thing with pass interference on offense, it's a 15-yard penalty. So we went from 1st and 10 to 1st and 25. Well, we're now at 3rd and 12, and we get a procedure penalty. It makes it 3rd and 17. We complete a ball to Ridley on their sideline, and he gains 15, and we're 2 yards short. We needed 17. So we punted. It was 4th and 2. We were still down a point. We weren't going to panic. We punted, got a 3-and-out, got the ball back, and went down and scored. So in the end, we actually contemplated going for it, but it was 2 yards. If it would have been 1 yard, we might have taken a shot and gone for it on our 42, but we weren't going to do it with 4th and 2 and panic. We were in a position where we were still in a 1-score game, and we were going to get the ball back. So it wasn't like we had to make a first. Punting there was okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be back with part 2 of Hawk Talk. Do want to remind you, coming up on our radio side, we have the Penguins coming up for you against Montreal tonight, so stick around with us, and we will be back with Hawk Talk from the Elks Lodge, coming to you on Renda Digital TV and United 2.5 FM.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities, we give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
With you live, coming to you from the Elks Lodge here in Indiana. Jack Benedict with you, with Coach Paul Tortorella. We'll get ready for Seton Hill and a 2 o'clock game coming up. Is it senior night?
Yeah, we're recognizing them.
Week?
Yeah, and I like it that way. When it's the last game, it's just it becomes a major distraction. They still are going to play another home game, and it's better to do it this way. Some places do it like early in the year. So, but we're going to do it this Saturday.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk more about that, of course, with our pregame and all. I have a question here that a fan passed along to us. What do you say to fans who can't believe how this year and last year have gone?
Well, again, you get in these 1-score games, you can't leave it up to a play here and play there that's going to determine whether you win or lose, or a call by an official here or there. You can't get into that. And, I think a lot of it is I think we haven't gotten off the field late in the games on defense. If we would have done a better job against Slippery Rock, we'd be sitting here 6-0, basically. I mean, I don't know what more you want to ask. We stop them, and they don't make it, but they keep running the drive.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what else you want me to tell you.
The other question that was posed here is, how do you handle negativity when the players are, really working hard day in, day out, going out? They're not loafing, that sort of thing. And you have fans who have been with you for forever that will. And when you lose and not accustomed to losing,
right,
it hurts even more. But
sure.
And for a head coach and the coaches, it's a tough thing. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more worried about the players and my coaches than anybody else. Like the players, I tell them that's life, man. You're going to have obstacles. Nothing always goes right. There have been times here where we've had some early losses in the past and went on, and actually the one year we went to the semifinals. So at the end of the day, that's why you play. One team wins, one like I told the players today, you can't have your head in the sand and think every team wins every game. Somebody loses every game. We're not happy it's us, but but it happens. And then sometimes I think, like at Clemson, Dabo Swinney went through it. People get spoiled. They just think that, you're supposed to win every game. And, sometimes I say, well, if that's what you're expecting and those are the expectations, then maybe the commitment needs to be raised a little bit, to be relatively honest with you. So, and this is coming from a guy that's been coaching here more than any individual in any sport at this university. So this is a 30-year equity package they got here. And I got two assistants that got 26 years in the program.
Yeah, they've been with you a long time.
That, to me, is pedigree and equity. So I'm worried. Here's who I'm worried about. I'm worried about my players and my coaches. I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks.
To salvage the season, you still have 4 games.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're 4-2.
Right.
So there's an approach there on the positive side, and knowing the way you handle things, knowing the way the players. It's a veteran team.
Yeah.
Are they seem to be accepting more of what's happening as opposed to like last year because it is a veteran team?
Yeah, I mean, you can't have an entitlement and a spoil like you don't want to have a team that's spoiled that thinks just because they lose a game they shouldn't continue to do the same things to prepare for the next game. I mean, that, like I told the team, that'd be like saying, okay, we lost Saturday, so as coaches we didn't come to work Sunday. We weren't in there at 7:30 this morning working because we lost Saturday. There's no need to come in Sunday, Monday and work. We worked just as hard this Sunday and Monday as we did whether we won or lost. I mean, that's what it is. Again, there's a team that wins and a team that loses. If we won every game, we wouldn't even have to play the games. They just say you're going to win, so just don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the routine doesn't change. Bring us up to date on injuries. Kalen Manak.
I mean, again, like Lockhaven, people don't realize that and they think you're complaining and all that. But midway through the first quarter, we had one running back, J.D. Young.
J.D.
Adam Hauser went in for like 2 or 3 plays just to give him a blow. Adam wasn't even close to 100%. But Monaco got hurt in the first quarter. So like Lockhaven, J.D. Younger had to play the whole game at running back. So Monaco's out. We should have everybody this week ready to play. Akangu's done for the season.
Yeah,
he's done for the season.
No, he has no more eligibility?
No, he can get a medical red shirt.
Okay.
I think everybody, like Washington, we're waiting for his cast to come off because if his cast, when he gets his cast off, we at least could put him at running. Right now, we have, we have 2 running backs healthy on the whole roster.
You're reading my mind. I was going to bring that up about Randy because he has played, obviously.
Yeah, and when he gets you can't play running back with a cast on your hand. Well, he's been working as a second-team star on defense. He used to be a defensive player, and he could be a good defensive player. But we need him back when he does get back and gets a cast off to go, get some reps. We got Austin Kai, Younger, and then, Adam played a couple plays just out of necessity because we had nobody else once Monaco went down.
Now, you have a couple of freshman running backs.
Right.
But
we're red shirt, and they're getting red shirt.
You want to hold them.
And we would have used Parker Gregg if we had to in emergency, but he got a thigh contusion, and he didn't he played the whole game, but he didn't play that much.
You know, if there's anybody who's an unsung player, it's got to be Parker Gregg.
Yes. You know what? Maybe I'll have him next week as a guest.
I think that would
remind me of that.
I will. I would think that
we'll bring him in here next week.
Yeah.
He's awesome, great student, walk on, great kid, local high school player, has done great blocker, has done a tremendous job in the program.
Okay, we'll get him on next week. Wyatt Koval.
I forgot about him. He didn't play Saturday. I'll tell you, the guy that did a great job was Nelson from Indiana High School.
Matt Nelson.
We had to move. That's the other thing we had to do Saturday. When Koval came down with mono, it was officially diagnosed on Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. We had to move Gerald Comedy to tackle, and Gerald played a great game. And we moved Nelson as the starting right guard, and Nelson played a good game too. Actually, our O-line played pretty well, to be honest with you. Chance Battle had a good game, but Nelson played well. But Koval's, we think he's a pretty good player, but he's out for a while because he has mono.
Is there a possibility he could be back before the end of the year?
He could, but it won't be for a while.
Yeah.
So we got thrown that curveball. He had been sick. He played against Slipper Rock. And he actually played pretty good, and he was sick as a dog. But he just sucked it up, and he actually played pretty good.
Yeah, I noticed with your goal line stand, too.
We put Chance and Gerald in there.
And Gerald, in there. Well, we're going to talk about Seton Hill a little bit and about what's to come. 4 games to go, but one at a time. Seton Hill is next up. We'll be back with Hawk Talk in our final segment with Coach Paul Tortorella. And we're coming back on U92.5 and Renda Digital TV after this.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
And welcome back. Our final segment of Hawk Talk here from the Indiana Elks Lodge on South 13th Street. We have another nice crowd here. I see the regulars are here. Bring your friends next time. We're here every Monday from 6 to 7 o'clock. Seton Hill is the next game coming up. I've worked on some stats, for the games on Saturday, just to allude to. But they are in with a record of 2-4. They've lost to Fairmont. They gave up 56 points in that game, and they lost to Ohio Dominican. I have no idea what that program's like.
They're pretty good. They're in Ashland's league. They're a pretty good team.
Okay, so those are the first two. They beat Bloomsburg. They beat Westchester by 3.
These teams, and they lost to Gannon and Cal. But if you look, 5 of their 6 games, like I talked about, they're all one-score games. Other than the first game, they're all one-score games.
Yeah, exactly right. 21-14.
They lost by 6 up at Gannon. Cal was 21-21 with 6 minutes to go in the game, and Cal's finding ways to win. Cal came back and beat Clarion the week after we played Clarion. They were down by 10 with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Came back and beat Clarion. And they found a way to win Saturday against Seton Hill because it was tied with 6 minutes to go. They stopped Seton Hill, went down and scored, and then stopped Seton Hill on the last drive.
There was in the preseason, preseason, there was an article written about the Seton Hill defense called the flex, is what they're saying. Explain what that all means. Is it totally different or not?
It's kind of hard to explain,
to
be honest with you. I mean, there's times where they're doing things that, we can't even figure out what they're doing.
Okay.
And that's good for them. I mean, if the offense can't figure out what you're doing, that's pretty good for the defense. But it's very unorthodox. They stand linebackers up on the line of scrimmage. They'll be out there in the defense. They'll only have one guy in a stance with his hand on the ground. In the past, they used to bring a ton of blitzes. They don't do that as much anymore. They play some really exotic coverages. I don't know if you remember the one year we played over there 4 or 5 years ago. They didn't cover Irvin Charles out. They just didn't put anybody out there because they were, they're doing something so exotic. We just threw it out to them for an 80-yard touchdown. There was nobody on them out to the field. I don't know if you remember that day.
Yeah.
But they cause a lot of issues and problems for the quarterback in regard to reading their coverages, and they do so much stuff up front with stunning and moving and it's like I'm not saying just like a series here and a series there. I mean, it's like every play.
All the time.
And last year when we played them, the first quarter, it took us a while to get locked in with it. And then we played pretty good offense the second, third, and fourth quarter. But the first quarter we struggled a little bit because it's a totally different defense than you see. Mm-hmm. So, you got to be patient. And once you start seeing it and get used to the speed, if you're executing, you'll be in good shape. But it takes a while to get used to the speed of it when you get into a game. Like you can't, like our scout team this week, trying to get them to replicate what they're doing on defense. The young coaches are going to be going crazy. The drawings on the posters that they have are going to look like Etch-a-Sketch. Like it's utter chaos, to be honest with you.
It's amazing because, you talk about all that, and so after all this press that they get, they go out and they give up 56 points.
Well,
I wonder if they regrouped after game one.
They could have, but
who knows?
as you know, you're only as good as your last game. So they played pretty good defensively against Cal and Gannon, who are pretty good on offense. So once you do get settled in, you got to start executing. Because then all of a sudden it's the middle of the third quarter and you're still trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The stat that really stands out is they have 10 interceptions.
Yeah. Yep, I saw that today. Yep, they have 10 interceptions, and they're pretty good. Now, don't get me wrong, they're pretty good in the secondary, but it's, again, the coverages that they play, you don't see a lot. And they force some interceptions that you wouldn't get against normal coverages.
The guy that hurt you on offense last year was the running back, Kyron Craig.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's their best. He may be one of the better running backs in the league because he's dangerous out of the backfield catching the ball. I think they average 340 maybe total offense a game, and he's responsible running and catching for 50% of their offense. Mm-hmm. I think he's got like 160 yards total offense average every game. Had a good game against Cal. He's good play. He's a good player.
Defensively, you made one change, maybe a couple of changes last week. Personnel, anything this week because of one reason or another?
Well, the problem we ran into Saturday was when Ingram got taken out of the game, we would be playing Santos there, but we moved Santos to defensive end, and he hadn't practiced at will for a week and a half. So what we had to do was, instead of playing a true freshman, Antonio Green, we had to move Cox to will, and he hadn't played will since the spring. And, we weren't counting on Chuck to getting thrown out of the game. He could have got hurt, but so instead of putting a true freshman in there at will, we moved Cox to will and brought Tadon Strickland in to play Mike, and he did a pretty good job, actually. He's been in the program. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's physical. He can play. I thought he did a nice job in there. But the problem is then Cox was playing a position that he hadn't practiced at since the spring, and it's a little bit different than Mike. Mm-hmm. He was involved in that one blitz, and he was clean, and he was playing will. Like, he knew what to do, but he hasn't run that blitz as a will since the spring. Mm-hmm. And then they made the first down on fourth down on the next play. He was involved in a coverage that he really hadn't had a lot of practice at since the spring, and he should have cut off the tight end, and he didn't. And it's simply because he hasn't had a lot of reps there this year, and they dumped it to him, and he made the first down.
Yeah. I noticed that Maurice Fizel it looked like he's not 100%.
Yeah, he's got a bad back.
He had a couple of great games.
We all got bad backs, so he knows that. His back's bothering him, but he played the whole game.
And you did use Noah Vaughn.
Yeah, we he was out for like 6 weeks with a hamstring.
Okay.
And he's been doing a good job down. Like he's one of the rare older guys that are on the scout team, and he did a great job. Like, older guys don't really like to be down on that scout team, but he did a tremendous job. So we activated him, and we actually used him in the fourth quarter on pass rush, and now he'll play a little more because we're going to move Santos back to will linebacker, just so we have that third linebacker ready if something, and he'll play a little bit. It'll give Cox, because Chuck and Cox both can play both Mike and Will. Santos can only play Will. Strickland can only play Mike. So those are the things you got to factor in. And we had a true freshman that we moved from Mike to Will, Antonio Green, 2 weeks ago, and he was on the trip. So we had to make a decision. It wasn't a decision whether to play him because you got 3 or 4 games anyway and still can get a red shirt. That wasn't the case. We just felt like, is he ready to go in there? It's the middle of the second quarter now. He's going to be in there for 2.5 quarters. Was he ready for that? Mm-hmm. So we decided to move Cox, and he had to just remember playing Will he played it all spring, but he hasn't played it in the fall. So he did well. He played well, but he was not playing a position that he was real familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's possible that you can get more time from Adam Hauser this week?
He still was probably a guy that we just put in there in an emergency to give JD a blow. I mean, he's got a bad groin.
It's really a shame.
It's a bad groin.
Yeah, veteran player.
Yeah,
tough-nosed player.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great game against Ashland in the opener, and then he got hurt in the third play against Lockhaven, and it was a bad groin injury. A couple of us took a look at thinking back, the last running back that had 100 yards was Adam Hauser last year, And, we like to see him in there. And, of course, his brother's playing also, Isaiah. So whenever, I matched up the stats here with Seton Hill, but it's a game last year that you lost on the road. And they are getting better in their athletic program. I can see it in basketball too. And they bring players from everywhere. Private school, right? Yeah, they got them from all over, and they're a lot more structured. They're coached much better than they have been in the past, and that's a credit to to the guy that's been there for 4 or 5 years. That's nothing against the former staff. He's a Seton Hill guy. He played at Seton Hill. So it means more to him, I'm sure. And they're very structured. The defensive guy it's been well documented. He's done a great job. Offensively, they've changed to where they're not into what we call reindeer games like they used to be. Like they have 4 guys out there, 1 guy over there. They would go lonesome polecat and have linemen out, and it was just back when they were doing that, they weren't very good. So, we were getting in some blowout games, but it was just you had to go restructure your whole defense the week after you played them because they're still thinking about empty and all the crazy stuff that they used to do. Well, now they've got a really structured offense, and it's run very well, and the quarterback knows it, and they're good. They do a really good job with it. It's less reindeerish games, to be honest with you.
So the reindeer's on defense now. It's more chaotic,
but I mean,
right?
It was like we used to dread Seton Hill week, and we other than last year, I don't think we gave up more than 10 points against them since I've been the head coach.
Yeah, right.
But last year they got 35 on us. But they're in this offense now that they were in last year. It wasn't reindeer games last year either. But we used to hate it, and they still wouldn't score a lot of points against us, but it was just scout team couldn't run it right. They were running plays that they've never run all year. Guys couldn't get lined up right. You had to spend half the practice just lining up to just get lined up on defense off of their formations. But now they're a one back. They're very, like, really, if you look at the teams we've played so far, they're pretty much, to be honest with you, all very similar. We haven't played a team offensively yet that's kind of different, to be honest with you. Now, they run certain weeks, they run certain plays that they don't run, but, like, the base offense is very similar. One back, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 10 personnel. You know, Edinboro did it. They're under center a little bit. They're in the shotgun, moving the tight end around in the run game. It's very, I mean, everybody we've played has been very similar that way. Now, the difference Saturday was Edinboro with those screens. Like, they had them, I mean, and they did a good job, especially when we weren't expecting it in the first half. We got hurt with a couple of their screens now. But we did a better job against them in the second half. But I can remember yesterday we were watching a film, and like in the middle of the second half, they ran another screen on third down, and we stopped them. And I was like, it was like their 11th screen of the game, and they were in the middle of the third quarter. So they were getting the ball out quick and getting their ball in space to mostly the running back, but also to the receivers.
And offense, that Bo Schwartz did a terrific job.
Yeah, and they do that.
That short yardage.
They get in a wildcat short yardage offense.
Yeah.
The one run we totally blew an assignment, and that's why that hole was gigantic.
Yeah, it was.
We had two guys jump outside for the running back when we should have had one outside for the running back, one inside for the quarterback. So, but you the old Coach Signetti, he had a funny saying. We talk about goal line defense, and he says, I got the best goal line defense you could ever play. And I say, what's that? Don't let them get down there.
Simply put.
And they scored twice down there on the goal line against us.
Yeah, they did.
14
Let's
points.
end on that note with
There
Big
you
Guy,
go.
okay, Coach?
Yeah, don't let them get down there. That's the best goal line defense you have.
That's good. All right, have a good week of practice.
Appreciate it, Jack.
Seton Hill coming up 2 o'clock Saturday. Penn's hockey coming up right after this. Thank you all for coming and for listening and watching. And we'll see you next week from the lodge here, the Elks Lodge, at 6 o'clock on Renda Digital TV and United 2.5 FM. Have a good night.
The following has been a special sports presentation of Renda Media.
Okay, Jack, good night.
Yeah, that was a good finish.